Welcome everyone to Get Amplified Audio Technology Workshop. Lots of sound healers here. No surprise there. This is what we do. We want to make our instruments sound as good as possible at all times and in all spaces, right? And so, yeah, very, very stoked to have you all here to discuss this and more today. I am going to spend some time talking about studio gear, building up your little remote studio so you can capture your instrument recordings, because those are always fun to play back in a live context also. There's a lot of things we can talk about, and I have a list of gear that we're going to go over. And so many friends here. So many friends. Hi, friends. Excellent. All right. Oh my gosh. Oh wow. You guys are bringing it today. All right. There's like no way. I'm going to do my best. But that's why I have the course coming up, you guys. Yeah. Okay. Yes. Okay. So, as I go through the gear today, I'm going to be answering some of the questions you have about miking instruments, right? Because whether you're recording them or you're capturing them live, you just have to have some basic information about what works and what's going to cause problems for you. And in the studio environment, everything is very controlled. So we have more choices when we do when I do live streaming. I love my live streams because I can use more sensitive microphones and I can use my piano and I can do a lot of things. I can use my tracks and things that just are cumbersome in any yoga studio environment in terms of sound healing. So that's why I prefer to stream these days. But we are getting back out there. So it's important to figure out what is going to be the most cost-effective, easiest, technically, the least challenging technically for you. So when you're going out there to play and to hold space and to facilitate, that you're not being taken over by the technology is not taking over. You are controlling the technology. The technology is not controlling you. Okay? I've done it all. I've brought all my wires and speakers and cables to a yoga studio for 10 people, and made $100, and it's just not worth it. So let's be smart here. Let's talk about when we want to use it, why, and some simple things that we can do to amplify in the space. So you guys have a lot of questions about that, although I do want to concentrate on building that little studio setup and getting everyone to start recording their own sounds. Because the thing is, if you can start to make tracks and drones and things like that and have that be an easy process for you, you can play those back on a Bluetooth speaker, and that's going to fill the room really nice too. Yes. Yeah. Okay. So thank you so much for being here. It's an honor for me to be able to hold space for giving that knowledge back to the community so you guys can thrive and just feel great about, plugging in a microphone. Even that for some people is tough. What do I do? What's the cable? What microphone do I get? What is the dynamic? What is the condenser? What speaker do I get? All these things. And what is awesome about music technology these days is that there are so many choices, and there's some really cost-effective solutions as well, up to really high end. So if you've ever gone into Guitar Center and or gone on the Sweetwater website and you feel lost, I understand, because I was there. I was there 20 something years ago. When I got out of music school, my classical music degree, and I was like, I want to make tracks. And this path to making tracks, wasn't the easiest thing. A couple decades ago, you just had digital tools coming online. You could get Pro Tools. Everything's very expensive. I was using a software called Cubase. I was trying to hook up my MIDI keyboard. But there was no USB connection, which is so plug and play today. I didn't have that. And so I would go down to this store. It's like Guitar Center in Indianapolis, and it was called Mars Music. And I would be in there like every day. I'd be like, all right. So I figured that part out, and then they knew me after like a week. They're like, oh, there she is again. She's coming in. There's that Linda. Like she has a million questions. Like I was trying to figure out how to do all this, and running up against a lot of technical challenges. So I have to say that in the beginning, even though I went to recording school, that was the impetus to do that. I was like, I'm just going to go to recording school because I want all that information. I want to be able to read a manual, feel comfortable with that, and figure this out myself. But there's so much troubleshooting and trial and error with the technical standpoint of audio as a beginner, as someone who's learning and wants to integrate this as a performer too. And so, first of all, you need a lot of patience. Patience with yourself, willingness to experiment and build in enough time so that you can learn. And so that's why I'm holding this space today. Okay, so let's begin. I'm going to start with this. I'm going to give everyone the link to this document that I've created. And I'm just going to go through some main categories of instruments and things like that. And along the way, I'll try to weave in some of the live questions that you have. And then I'm also going to go over a little bit with Ableton, show you the software that I use for playback and for composition. And then we can go from there. Yes. Okay. So let me share my screen and also give you this link in the chat here for the recommended gear list. There it is, I hope. Yep. And let me go ahead and share. All right. All right, so here we go. I started putting this together last year when I did some of these intro workshops, and a lot of these things still hold true today, even though things evolve very, very quickly. There is a lot that you can get from this list to get you going, depending on what your needs are. And we've got a few main retailers. We've got Sweetwater, the Sweetwater website. Once you get on their website, you will get a call every few months asking if, hey, do you need anything, Linda? These damn, of course. I have about 20 things on my wish list, but then I'm not going to get them all today. So thanks for the call. All right, so you're going to get a representative calling you. Or you can go to a place like Guitar Center where you can get like in-person help. Or you can just go to Amazon, and we'll do that today to find certain things. And that's always really handy as long as you know what you're getting and you read reviews. You've got to read reviews, guys, on gear to make sure that you're getting the right thing and that it's reliable for the longer term. There's nothing more frustrating than buying something and it breaks right away or after a few uses. So brands are an important aspect. So if you're going to make money, yeah, we all want to make money. If you're gonna, yeah.
Can you put the link to the doc? It was the incorrect link.
It is okay.
Yeah, thank you.
All right, you got it. Let me do that real quick. So we're going to, this is the audio gear list. We're going to copy this. And then we're going to go to chat. Oops. Oop, it's for the Zoom meeting. Sorry about that, guys. All right. So we're going to go here. And let's just make sure that works. That should work. So if you're going to use, there we go. I see you guys popping on. Excellent. If you're going to use the computer for live streaming or for music making, which we will be doing in the audio production course, you'll want a fairly good computer, a Mac laptop, something more current, and something with as much RAM as you can afford. And there's lots of refurbished Macs out there and models that are that are pretty good. I haven't used PCs for production in a very, very long time. I used them back in the day and in the beginning, and I wound up, it was during a time in the 2000s when there was a lot of computer viruses and things like that. And so I had to wipe my computers multiple times and reinstall everything. And then I was like, I just had to transition at some point because the PC was so buggy. But yeah, if you want to do the audio production thing, Max, it's really worth the extra investment for a Mac computer that is refurbished or new. I have also the Mac Mini, which is the most affordable Mac right now, as a desktop, with a screen attached to it, and it actually, so far so good. It works great, so you don't need that $10,000 Mac. Mac desktop computer. Um, and so the computer is a really important aspect, something reliable that's also going to be able to stream if you're streaming to YouTube or Facebook or wherever it is that you want to distribute your content. If you're doing a live format for your sound healing or your music or your guided meditations. All right. So the laptop, the computer can be it's kind of the central hub of everything, that everything gets plugged into. And so it's good to address kind of where you're at with the computer end of things. All right, let's talk a little bit about microphones. All right, so we've got USB microphones, and here's one right here, the Blue Yeti. If you see my screen at the top here, right, I can show you also after. And this plugs right into the computer. There's no audio interface needed, and it's a pretty powerful microphone. Someone was asking about noise when you record instruments and stuff. And the USB mics usually pick up a lot of extra noise, and they're very sensitive, but they're a cost-effective and easy solution for getting a signal into the computer. And even for live streaming, if you have a quiet room that you're recording or transmitting your instruments live, USB will pick up a lot. You'll get a lot of coverage with the USB mic. So the Blue Yeti's good. There's some Samson USB mics that are okay. The Blue Snowball for one that's a little bit more expensive but very good. We've got the Apogee Hype mic, and Apogee makes a couple of them. That's a good audio brand. And so consider, if you're going to if you don't want to get a bunch of microphones and cables and stuff like that, and you've got a computer with a USB hub, you can just plug a couple of USB mics and then you're good to go. I was consulting with a sound healer on her live setup, and she had a USB mic and she had an audio interface with a couple other mics. And when we were able to, through a certain software called Loopback, connect all the mics, and she used all of them for her live stream, and she could place them in the places where the instruments were, where it was most needed, and it's just been working out really good for her. So USB mics are a great way to go for an initial setup. Okay, now we've got dynamic mics, and here's where I can go into like miking instruments live versus in the studio. Okay, so we've got some workhorse mics here. We've got the Shure 58, the 57. I have a couple of those right here, actually. I've got a 57 down here and a 58. So I'm going to show you guys that. And those are dynamic mics, meaning they don't need any external power for them to work. And they're also mostly what you're going to use in a live performance context, like if you're miking instruments outside or in a venue. The 57s or 58s will be more than fine. There's also ones that are a little more expensive. The Sennheiser E845 super cardioid microphones. The Telefunken M80 comes in a variety of colors. Like they're really fun looking. You can get a gold one, a blue one, a red one. You can add your personality to your microphone. So take a look at those as well. But if you're outside and you want to amplify yourself, you really stick with those dynamics, and you're not going to get feedback, because feedback's a big issue in a live context outside. And so you'll want to be careful about having it too sensitive of a microphone in a live venue. If you have to consider, what are you plugging those mics into? if you're doing live performance, so you'll need your stands, your cables. You'll need a little mixer, and you'll need a PA system so that you can amplify things. And then you have to decide how many microphones, right? So on the crazy end of things, I do the project Sonic Divas, and I call it crazy. It's because we usually have like 25 microphones up there at least. We've got all these inputs. We've got multiple women up there with multiple instruments, and that all needs to be mixed together. And then we can't have one condenser microphone up there, and I'll tell you why in a second. We have to have all dynamic mics, and they'll have to be run by a professional, because there's just so much to deal with there in terms of all those sounds mixing together and being picked up by the microphones. So use only the amount of microphones you need to get the job done. That takes a little bit of planning. But the most cost-effective way to start is that Shure 58, Beta 58, and the SM57. The Beta 58 is a great mic. That's the one I've had for 2 decades. For my live performance, because it's directional, meaning it has a gate on it, so it won't pick up anything too far away from the mic, which really helps with the feedback issue. So that Beta 58, a little bit more, but worth getting, with the understanding that you've got to be pretty close to it. Okay, and I'm going to be going over some of the PA systems and amps, and I have a couple of suggestions there for you guys that are wanting to do that thing. Okay, but remember, if you're a performer and the technician, right, you have to really come up with a plan to be able to set things up easily, have an assistant, or be able to do it in a way where it doesn't really take away from you being able to hold space and execute, the reason why you're there. I have to say, like, after bringing speakers and stuff to studios, if it's a 40-person, indoor sound bath, I don't even use microphones anymore. I just do my acoustic instruments, because if we're talking about sound healing, it's really about the silence and the subtlety of the sounds, not necessarily about, blasting everyone. So it depends on your intention there, but that's a whole nother conversation. All right. So then we've got these condenser microphones. Okay. So with the condensers, these are called small cap condensers. I have one right here. Let me just pull it over, and I'll show you when I stop sharing the screen. But the small cap condensers, they're like little pencil microphones, but they're super powerful. And I always suggest a lot of the time I suggest using like 2 of these as a stereo pair on either side of, say, a group of crystal bowls or your instruments right above you. These go a long way. These are really, really great mics. These are the Rode NT5 that I have here, but the Neumanns and the SE Electronics look exactly the same. They're the same size, same function. And I do not take these out to mic up a setup live. Not yet. I mean, unless I have an engineer, because it's going to cause a lot of feedback. But if you're doing like a video recording of yourself, or a live stream, you can get away with using one vocal mic and 2 of these on either side of your setup, and you are like good to go, because you can crank it in the studio. You can make them as loud as you want. And yes, it might pick up some room noise. That's just there's really nothing we can do about that except a noise reducer, which then takes off some of those harmonics that we like to have in our sound. So you have to be careful about noise reduction for live performance. It's all about having that quiet room, that quiet space, which is, if you live in a metropolitan area, that's sometimes hard to come by. But if you live in the middle of the country, it's like, yeah. And I'm pretty lucky. I have a studio down here in Long Beach in the back of my house, and it's pretty quiet around here. So I got super, super lucky. They are building the house behind me, but the construction is going slow, so it's not an onslaught every day. I don't know. These are things you have to consider when you're dealing with with microphones and recording. Planes fly overhead, though. I'm sure some of you deal with that. All right, so the small cap condensers, those are, cost effective, especially the Rode NT5s. I think they're on back order in Sweetwater right now. But those are great. They're great. The Neumann KM184s have been one of my dream list for a long time. They're twice as much as the Rhodes, but the Rhodes work fine for me. Then we've got some large condensers. This is I've put some brands here that I think are good. Loudon Audio, Warm Audio, Blue Microphones, Neumann, AKG 414, and Audio Technica are all great brands, and they have various just various levels of microphones. But again, those are condensers. So going back to what a condenser is, a condenser microphone is more sensitive. It will be more powerful in terms of what it picks, the detail that it picks up. But what you need to run it, you need phantom power to turn these microphones on. So in every audio interface and mixer, you're going to have a little button called the 48V button. I'll show you guys this, but you have to turn that on in order for that microphone to work. So most mixers and audio interfaces will have that. And so you'll be able then to use your condenser microphone after that. So with these large condensers, I would say for a lot of you, if you are going to do some high-end recording, some vocals, some instruments, you want to capture something really clear, having one really good large condenser microphone is a great thing for your studio. Okay, but you can do so much just with your dynamic mic and some great plugins to sweeten it up. It's amazing on either end. But think about how you can capture the original source signal best. And this is what we're going to do in the course, is how can I make the best recording of the source material? Then I have like a lot of power. I can manipulate this recording in any way I choose, sweeten it, whatever it is, and so that's kind of, I'm using some lingo, some production lingo already for you guys. Then we got some wireless headset microphones. So the one I'm using right now is the Shure wireless system. I love it. Like for those of you who are on here who have taken classes with me over the past year and a half, like this is my jam. Like my headphone, I got my good headphones, my stereo headphones, and I have my wireless headset mic, and I am just a happy camper because I can perform, I can move around my instruments when I'm teaching and performing and doing the live streaming, and I don't have to be stuck in front of a microphone, right? So I think Eve was talking about, what kind of wireless headsets can I use, so we can walk around. And I say the Shure wireless headset would be good and I know you do events outside. So if you're doing events outside and you have a PA kind of further away from you, from where you're going to be, you can probably get away with using the headset microphone in a live context. It's a wireless headset. And then there's a little base station that you plug into your mixer that then goes to the PA. And so the Shure wireless system is really is a good one. I've been very, very happy with it. Countryman is the more high-end one. You'll see like all the pop stars using it where it's like a really thin, little microphone so you can hardly see it. And those are great as well. Okay. But this is actually a condenser microphone. So it's the phantom power is in the unit, but it's a really sensitive mic, meaning so I did my last Sonic Davis show in December at Wisdom, and I was really excited to use this mic because I'm so attached to it, and it was feeding back all over the place because of all the other mics on stage, and I couldn't use it. So I was super bummed. So then I had to figure out how to play while still singing into the microphone that was stationary and like play my xylophone. And then, so I had to adjust in the moment. I couldn't use this, but there are other situations. If you're the only person in the room and you have your PA in a certain way and it's not too loud, you may be able to get away with using the headset microphone. But I always see I'm erring on the side of caution and giving you those examples of when it doesn't work so that you don't think like, I'm just going to get one. It's going to work great. And, Linda says it's the best. Well, it is the best, but what context are you using this equipment in? Because because it could be such a bummer if you spend the $500 or $300 and then you use it and it's just everything's feeding back all over the place. And that feedback sound is not a sound that we like in sound healing. That's probably the opposite of what we want. Right. So let's just do a little recap. So Yeah, the sound for can I sing? Yes, I love this for vocals. I put some effects on it. Ooh. Yeah, it's very clear. I think it's pretty clear of a microphone, and it's just like, yeah. Once you sweeten it up, it's super. It's a really really cool thing. And okay, so again, let me just recap. This is the Blue Yeti, the USB mic I was telling you about, and it's really sensitive. I don't have to turn it up very far, and it comes with a mute button. So that's a little, and it comes in different colors, so it's all right. It's okay. Picks up a lot of noise, but it's a good option to start with. And then there's a my SM50, my Beta 58, this workhorse. I had one until I went to Burning Man, and then the audio engineer, I didn't label my microphone, and he took it as part of, and I couldn't find him, so I had to buy another one. But I'd had that previous one for like 15 years, and then the SM57. These are just awesome. This is like your cheapest mic, but the most useful, and like this is what guitar amps are mic'd with. But I also mic my Rav drum underneath with this. And it picks up, hand pan or Rav or whatever, it just picks up everything. And oh, we had a question about effects. So that was just Ableton. I have all my effect. Everything's in Ableton for me right now. I fought it for a long time, you guys. I'm like, I'm not gonna go back to my computer. And then I did, because it's just the most versatile thing. I can play back stuff. I can put effects on my voice, on the instruments. I can bring in multiple microphones. It's just awesome. So, okay. So yeah, Eve, I think your question, it's hard to say. I can't give you one size fits all solution there. It depends what the room is, how many people, where you put your speakers, how far apart from where you are. A microphone on a stand is going to be good, safe, and the wireless would be ideal if you can make that work. Ableton does everything. Ableton does all kinds of sounds. Okay. Okay. What else? I just want to do microphones real quick. So, oh yeah, I just wanted to show you a little bit more close up the Rode NT5. These are so sweet. These are sweet. And I'm not going to say that condenser mics don't work on stage, but I would, like, if I was like to go on tour sometime and I was traveling with an engineer and they thought they could make it work, then I would let them make it work. But at some point, it's so hard to like manage all that in the room. And also when you talk about microphones in a room in a live sound context, remember what happens during sound check when no one's in the room is different than when everybody's in the room. So when the bodies fill the room, the bodies are absorbing the sound. And and so things are working a little differently. But if you tune the room with nobody in it, then it's going to be great when people are in it. You're going to turn it up a little bit then, and you can adjust. This is the Shure wireless headset system that I have on right now, and the links on the document. So these are great questions so far. And let's keep going. I know I'm going a little fast, but we're getting through this. I want to make sure you get just an overview today. This is the overview day. And so let me go back to this document here. And I'll do my best to keep answering your questions as they come in. All right. So cables. People have a lot of questions about cables. I find that when people want to amplify themselves, they don't even know what the cables are that go into the microphone. So the main microphone cables are called XLR cables. And they look like this. They're 3-pin cables. And you got a female end and a male end. And, oops. Yep, there's the male end. And so the male end goes into your mixer and the female end goes into your microphone. So those are the XLRs. And then if you have a pickup on an instrument, like a harp or another string instrument or a guitar, you're going to use these things called 1/4-inch cables. These are called quarter inches. They go into your pickup, into the keyboard output or whatever that line level instrument is, and then the other end looks the same, and you plug that into your interface or your mixer. So those are your two main ones. Then you've got things called aux cables, which are like your oh, I can't show this to you, but I have, let's see if I can pull this out. Those are like your mini, like your headphone jack kind of thing. This guy. And then I use my phone sometimes for my live streams when I play my apps on my iPhone, or any of my sounds from my iPhone. I just use this with the lightning adapter for the phone, or the iPad, I think would have the same thing. And then I plug and then the other end of this cable is a quarter inch, and then I plug that into my mixer so that I can integrate any sounds from my iPhone. Or if you have an iPad, it'd be the same thing. Right? So you have to think about signal flow. So signal flow is you're getting it's all electrical, like our bodies. This is why it's so great. It's the same with our sound healing, with dealing with our nervous systems. But this is, we're dealing with the electricity moving from point A to point B to C to D. So think about it as a water, like water's traveling forward, and then it can split off and it can go different places. But you're trying to get that signal all the way through to the destination, which could be the YouTube, or it could be just a track in your DAW, right? So visualize how you are getting yourself from A to B, right? And so yeah, excellent. So let's keep going. Lots to go over. All right. So then we've got audio interfaces and mixers. All right. So if you're going to use, if you're not going to use USB and you want to use regular microphones plugging into your laptop, you're going to need an audio interface. Okay. If you're doing live sound, you're going to need a mixer. You're going to need a place where all your microphones that you're using to mic up your instruments, you're going to need a place where they plug into, so you can sum them all into one signal and adjust all the levels. So this is where the interfaces come in. And there are a lot of options here that I want you guys to research to see what's going to work for you. All right, because again, this is informational today. I'm kind of showing you some of the things that are widely used, and then you can decide what you need to make your thing fly, right? So we've got audio interfaces and mixers, the Zoom H6 and H8. These have come on. Zoom is a pretty cool brand. These have come on the scene because you can use them out in the field, meaning you can like do field recordings, and you can use it as a sonic environment collection device. You can sing into it. And you can use it as an audio interface. You can record into a DAW like GarageBand, Logic, or Ableton with this. You can plug all your mics in and live stream it, and it's small. It's like you can hold it in your hand. You can see that there's the microphones on top. Those are stereo. And then on either side, you've got 2 mic inputs. So that's six inputs, which is why it's called the H6, and the H8 has 8 inputs. And so you can put all your mics through there, and you got to deal with that little window though at the bottom, and some menu stuff. That's a little annoying. But once you get the hang of it, that can be used in multiple contexts. So you can use it for streaming or recording or remotely out in the field. You can put batteries in it. So if you're going to do like a sound healing on the cliff overlooking the ocean, but you want to record it at the same time, or you want to run it through your computer, record it, and then blast it out through the PA that you brought. That can sum all those signals in there, and then it can go out to the speakers through your computer. So very, very, very handy piece of gear there. And then we've got things like the Focusrite Scarlett or Claret series. So let me just stop right here and show you. All right, so here is a good audio interface brand. This is called Focusrite. And this particular one is the Claret series. And you've got 2 mic inputs. So I can plug, one 58 in here and another 58 in the other one, and then I can mic whatever I have, that's it. All right. So it's pretty, if you have more than 2 microphones that you need to plug in, then this could be limited. But for the beginning, if you're doing vocals in Shruti or, just wanting to get a mic and to have extra coverage on your bowls or your gong or, your didgeridoo or whatever it is, your monochord, then 2 can work pretty good. All right, depends what you need. And so I do recommend these. The Focusrites also come with 4 mic inputs. And so that makes it pretty handy. This is what I use a lot for my live performance because if I do electronic music performance based sound healing, I have a lot of my sounds in Ableton already ready to go. I have tracks that I've been making over the past 4 or 5 years. I've been building a set over time, and so then I sing and play over it. And so I don't worry about miking too many things unless I have an engineer to help me, manage all that. But for production and for live, I get this thing out. And in the studio, I have a different mixer called the Behringer XR, which has 16 inputs. So that's why I can mic up a lot of things in here. All right, giving myself an option. I also want to show you the phantom power button. So if you have, here we go. If you've got a condenser microphone, you just press that in and then it's going to light up and you'll be able to turn up the gain on your microphone. Okay? All right, we're working our way through. We're doing good. How's everybody feeling? I know we have a lot of questions. Just hang in there with it. And let's go back and see what we've got next here. Okay, so we have a Focusrite Scarlett. M Audio also makes a series of interfaces. And these Behringers are also very good. The Behringer Xenix, the 1202 mixer with USB. With USB is a really good sign, you guys, because that means you can use that mixer as a live mixer if you plug mics in and then plug it into a PA. Or you can use it as an audio interface, meaning you plug it into your computer and now you can get your signals and all your mic inputs into Ableton or your DAW. So it can work in both contexts, which is really handy. And so I do recommend those Behringer series mixers in general. I have the XR X18. Let me just show you this real quick. This is a little bit more advanced. I know Tanya Mark has one of these. We've been meaning to help her set this up for some time. And so let me just, let's see, hopefully we have this set to go. Okay, so here is my messy studio floor. So here's behind the scenes, everyone. And so this down here, this is the XR mixer. And you can see all the mics I have plugged in and all the outputs and stuff. And it doesn't have any knobs or faders because I have to control it with software on my computer. But it's very customizable, and I'm able to route things different places. And this is why I'm able to talk to you clearly online and live stream online, is because it's set up in a certain way. So I would say it's a little bit more complex than what most people might need. But you can see that this is a solution that's used a lot in live, and it's run off of also Ethernet. So I have to have a router plugged into it. So that's like another step. And you can see it back here. This is my Shure wireless mic receiver. And I have that plugged into this big mixer over here. If you can just get past the spaghetti soup, hopefully you can see what I mean. So, I'm kind of letting you in here behind the scenes. It's kind of embarrassing. I didn't clean that up, but I'll do it. I'll organize it. And then I move things around constantly depending on what I'm doing, teaching or performing. And very quickly things get out of control. So the cable management is one of the fun things about this work here. Okay. So, yeah, and I think, with any gear that I'm telling you about today, I'm trying to give you ones that I know that are quality. And so if you're finding gear that's cheaper, It may be fine, but I don't know. You have to look at reviews and make sure that it's going to be okay. You can always get something, try it, and then return it if it doesn't work for you. You know, so I encourage you to, sometimes you just got to get something and try it and see it yourself if it's going to work. And if it doesn't, you might have to go up a level, you know, in your plan. It's better to try and get something with a little more quality to it rather than the cheapest thing on the market. You know, it doesn't really in the long run pay to get. But if the cheapest thing works for you, and it works just fine, then yes, like I want you to all be successful and make the right choices for yourselves. Okay, so that was a little bit about mixers. We've got also Android and iPhone solutions. We have the iRig, the Roll and Go, and the Short MV88 digital studio condenser microphone. The reason why I put these here is because they go right to your phone. So I have a lot of sound healing clients that come to me for technical help that just want to go on TikTok and Instagram Live, but sound better. Like that's where their fans are. That's where they're, you know, that they don't want to try and do like production. They just want to go on. So there's this iRig is one solution, and it comes with a lightning cable, so you plug that right into your phone, and then you have two mic inputs, just like the Focusrite. Honestly, look how much smaller that is. So you plug that in, and then you've got two microphones, and then you dial it up, and then you can put those microphones that you plug in here anywhere where you're going to be wanting to have the directional sound, right? So your voice and a guitar, because these are 1/4 inch option as well, so you can do 1/4 inch, or you can do XLR. So this is a really handy thing. I haven't actually used it that much yet because I do so much on my laptop with my live streaming. But I think about, wow, if I want to like do, you know, put what I have through this and I go live on Instagram with better sound, for example, I would want to take the output of my big mixer and plug it in here, and then I could just transmit everything that I have in the right format for the screen. You know how we have the vertical screen for Instagram and stuff and TikTok, and gosh, you have to have like all these things, right? But really cool portable solution, battery powered. You can take it anywhere, right? You can go to the Grand Canyon with your Shruti box and your voice and do mantras for an hour at the Grand Canyon. That could be a piece of content right there or something, you know? Get creative. Like, why do you have to ask yourself, why do I need this thing? Like, why do I want this thing? Am I going to use it? Okay. All right. So let's go back. And so it's a little bit about interfaces. Then we've got controller keyboards and controllers. And now we're going to specifically get into the recording studio setup, which is what we're going to be using for the course coming up for composition and production training. So lots of options here. We've got the Hiii APC Mini. We've got the APC 40, which is what I have here. And these controllers mean they control aspects of the software. You can take any button, fader, or knob and map it to anything in the software so that you can control the aspect of that software. So when I turned my reverb up earlier, I have that on a fader. I just fade up my knob, and now I have reverb because I've mapped that fader to I've systemized that for myself to make it easy. And that's the beauty of using Ableton. Then there's also keyboards, right? So if you want to make drones and record drones, or any instrument, or play anything live that's a software-based instrument, you'll need a keyboard. You will need a keyboard. And so I was actually going through some of these today. I just added the World 25 key controller because I thought it's cheap and it had knobs, faders, and keys, even though the keys are tiny. But I'm trying to give you guys some solutions that are decent and still cost effective if you're jumping in to producing. So I actually wanted to show you this too, because we're at that point. There are so many aspects to like what's the gear that you need to get started. Like how do you how do you get started? And so this Novation bundle, like it's kind of too good to be true. I'm like, wow, I can't believe you get all this. But if you're going to jump into this Ableton course and going into a little bit of production, remember, production can lead to live performance. You're making content that you can deliver to people. So it's a really good game to get into. This bundle, Novation is actually a good brand. So you see that it comes with the keyboard, which has some knobs and buttons on there that you can program. It comes with a microphone. Now, I don't know how great this microphone is, but if you're just starting out, this probably is going to be pretty good. It'll just get you rolling. You can upgrade any aspect of your thing and at any time. But it comes with a stand. It comes with cables. It comes with 2 little speakers. So you don't have to use your headphones all the time. I mean, come on. It comes with Ableton Live Lite, which is, to get started in Ableton is okay, because you just need to learn the functionality of the software and get set up. So that's cool. Then you've got some other software. You've got this V-Station Bass Station plugin, which for bass sounds, I had a cracked version of this, I'll have to admit, some years ago. I loved that Bass Station plugin. The V-Station sounds awesome. Novation has great sounds, and I think there's also a keyboard, Addictive Keys. Those are pianos, Rhodes, electric keyboard sounds. So you get all this. You get all this for $389. I'm like, what? Okay. That is really awesome. Plus, if you got an Amazon Prime, you have a payment plan, you're ready to go. So that I would look around for stuff like this on also the M Audio side of things, because these are pretty good deals, just so you learn how to hook it all up and know the flow, like why. The only thing that's missing from this is the audio interface. So down here where it says frequently bought together, I noticed they've put in a Presonus audio box, which is a 2 input interface, just like the one I showed you earlier, the Focusrite. And so you would actually need that to be able to plug this microphone in that they're putting with the bundle. You would need to plug it into this thing in order to plug it into the computer. This is not a USB microphone. All right. So this is just one example, of how, like, you don't have to buy each thing separately. If you don't have anything yet, this is a great way to go. This is a really, really handy thing. And it's tailored. It's tailored for beginners, which is fantastic. Okay. All right. So I know we're going fast, but that's okay. Just giving you this overview today of the wild world of audio production. So here's the software. Ableton Live is the software that I use at the moment. I've used Cubase. I've used Pro Tools for a really long time, but I don't have now I need a subscription. I need to pay $30 a month for it. And so I'm like, all right, I'm going to take a break from that, even though I love Pro Tools. I have Logic. If you have a Mac, you probably have GarageBand. I know a lot of people that record some really cool stuff in GarageBand. Very simple interface, but it comes with, or is very cheap with the Mac. And then Apple also owns Logic, which is the professional version of GarageBand. So if you're gonna make tracks, like, Logic is a whole nother world, guys. Like, that's like amazing. And I've had it over the years. I dabble in it. I use it a little bit. But it's not my axe. But right now, Ableton is what I use, because I can do so much with it. So just showing you that really, really quick. Then we're going to go over live streaming. Probably not today, because I'm going to do a whole workshop on live streaming on April 29th. Because it's such a hot topic. And then a little bit about speakers. And I don't have any PA systems on there, but I can point to a couple of those for you as well. So how are we doing out there? Are we feeling saturated yet? Okay, so let me go back to, yes. All right, so I'm going to show you Ableton really quick for those of you who have been with me before, this will look familiar because this is my master session in Ableton. This is how I play back all my sounds. Every one of those like cute little colors there, it looks like candy. Those are all different sounds, tracks, backing tracks I've produced, environmental sounds. You name it, it's in there. Yeah. And so I'll just play. I think I have a vocal loop going there that wasn't erased. I'll play back sounds from here. And then I have my microphones coming in these first three channels. And then I can put effects on them. And then you can see the little faders going up. I can mix my reverb. And I can bring in my piano mic or microphone. I have an effect on there too. And so it's really fun. But this is how I play back tracks when I play live. When I'm doing my streaming on Insight Timer, or I'm doing my private sessions, or if I'm doing a live performance, and I can customize this and change it up for every performance if I want. I can have 50 versions of this session that are tailored to my specific gig. So I'm going to build one for the Sonic Davis show on Sunday that's tailored just for that gig and what's required there. So we're going to be going over all of this in the Ableton course. I want you guys to understand this interface and be able to start using it. So there's this clip view where I play stuff back, and then there's the arrangement view where this is like a traditional DAW, meaning, let me just, meaning I can record stuff from left to right, just like Pro Tools or Logic or GarageBand. This part of Ableton is a little bit counterintuitive relative to those other DAWs. Takes a little bit to understand why I go back and forth and how I go back and forth between these two windows. But that's going to be part of the course that's coming up for those of you who want to get into playing with this software. It's just so powerful, and you just get this deep dive into the technical world of audio production that, it's just going to help. I think anything we do technically really helps that left side of the brain with just like step-by-step function. And when we work with our left brain and really like get that muscle going, then our creativity can come in and shine. And we can have that balance between the two, right? That's what I teach though anyway, in my in my sessions and my philosophy, that idea of balancing the left and the right, the male and the female, the dark and the light. We got to balance all these things in order to create. We can't have our head in the clouds all the time with no structure, and we can't just have structure all the time with no room to play. Yeah. So this is probably the most left brain thing that I offer at the Academy because, well, it's technology. So there's not much I can do. We got to learn the foundations of the signal flow and the software in order to feel free to create. Okay. So let's see. A couple other things, and then I can answer some questions. Before I do... Let me just share this again here. Before I do, we can, so headphones, I have Audix headphones, but the ones that I put on this list are pretty good if you want better headphones for listening. I always recommend those because you might want to produce your music with headphones on for more intimate listening. And then we've got... also, the speakers, the monitor speakers down here that I recommend. There's a bunch of series, different sizes and prices that you can choose from here. The Yamaha is a good brand. I have the Adam Audio AX7s and then the Presonus Eris E8. These are okay. These are good. These are good brands. Again, if you want small ones or big ones, so you can hear what you're producing and playback stuff in the room. It's also nice to listen, have a professional pair of speakers in your house or your studio so that you can listen to music, right? And then at the bottom here, I put some software-based instrument recommendations also, but this is something that we're going to dive deeper into in the course coming up here. So the course coming up, I'm going to be doing starting April. You guys going to get an email. April 8th, we're going to start with the basics. Ableton software basics, and but also setting up your recording studio, miking instruments. So I'm going to go over all that in detail. And I'm totally fine also with weaving in more of that live, how to bring it into the live context as well as we are learning about the studio stuff, because I think the two go hand in hand. Once you produce something and you want to play it out live, you're going to have to deal with both ends of the spectrum. So I'm going to be going over step by step all these things, really Ableton-based production, but also just how to capture a good signal and how to record your voice and effects and all the fun stuff that makes things sound wild and ethereal and gives you that wow factor, right? And then the second half of the course is going to be all composition. So here's the thing about audio technology classes that I see. They just tell you how to do stuff, but you don't wind up finishing anything. So the requirement of this is for you guys to, whoever's going to jump on and do this course, to finish some tracks. And I want everyone to have like a music drone bed or two. I want everyone to do a guided meditation. So recording your voice and editing it and learning how to get comfortable listening to yourself. Also, we're going to work with loops and grooves. So making like down tempo, chill music beats, stuff for breath work, all the stuff in the sound healing meditation music ambient genre. It's going to be very focused on that. So that at the end, you're going to have like, hopefully, if you can get yourself to focus on really doing it, set a goal for yourself. That's why we do these courses. So you're just like, all right, I got to finish something, right? I got to finish something. So you have something to share, on YouTube, wherever you distribute content, a present for your clients. Oh, by the way, thank you for coming to my yoga studio thing. Here's my guided meditation, that I just recorded that you can for sleep. And that they're going to be stoked. They're going to be like, oh my God, I have a original piece of content, from my teacher. So consider all this. And so I'm going to drop this link in there to see, if you're comfortable. Some of you on here have taken Get Amplified before last year, the intro classes. And so if you're good with this basics of Ableton, you could just join in for the compositional class. So I'm making these things separate because of that. All right, for people that understand. And if you're a beginner, then you can just go from the beginning. Okay, so I've got some recommended gear for class. So I'm going to let you guys look at that and see if it's something that you want to jump on and do. Because I'm very, very stoked to be able to take this offering to the next level so that we can all feel like we are really mastering, feeling like you have control over the technical aspects of what you, want to accomplish. And okay, so how are we doing? Wait, let me go ahead and by the way, it's going to be spread out because I have some trips coming up, and so hopefully you can go to this. And so you're going to have like 2 weeks in June to work on your stuff, and then we get back together at the end of June and we all have a composition lab. All right, so I'm kind of spreading. I want to have more time built in for this one. I find when I do weekend immersions where we're together for 6 hours a day, it's like you feel like you're like, yeah. But then on Monday morning, you're like, wow, that was amazing. And I'm overwhelmed. Like, what do I do now? And so we have to do this step by step in order for like you to feel like you're absorbing each thing. And so little bits at a time, and then you'll get to the end and you're going to be like, I'm a producer. Yeah. Okay, so everyone's going to get an email with this information and for the course, and I have a 10% off on everything, on all the workshops and courses and stuff on that page until Friday. 10% off, audio 10 is the code. Okay, so Eva's blowing up my chat with all these head-worn microphone options. Let me just check this out. So we've got a Shure omnidirectional ear set head worn. Now this one is not wireless. This looks really cool. All right, everyone. So let me just put this in the, oh, it is in the chat. If you scroll up and look at this omnidirectional one, let me share the screen real quick and share my concerns. The microphones themselves, the headsets are not expensive. It's just when you buy the whole package, if it's wireless and you need the base station and the headset, you know, and then it comes with extra cables and things like that. I think that's where the price goes up, right? So if you, let me see where this, is this on Firefox? Oh, okay. I'm having a browser issue. Which browser is it? Okay, so this is what Eve just sent to me. This is cool. It's small. It goes over your ear. It's real discreet. But see, this is not a wireless. So that XLR has to be plugged into another long, at least 50 foot XLR, and that has to be plugged into your mixer. And then if you walk around, you're gonna have a wire attached to you. So like if you're doing something and you're gonna trip over it if you're not careful, right? So you got to be careful with this stuff because although it's going to be a fantastic microphone, by the way. Is it a condenser or is it a dynamic microphone? Omnidirectional is also scary because omnidirectional means it's going to pick up all the way around. And see, there's so many of these headsets. I mean, they're not expensive, but they're wired, meaning the wire is going to be attached to you. You're going to walk around with it. But if you're sitting on your cushion and you're not going to go anywhere and you're just going to play your bowls around you and your other instruments, then if it's wired, it doesn't matter. But then you have the flexibility to turn and sing and keep playing something or talk or whatever, right? And you don't have to worry about being in front of the microphone all the time. Yeah. I find this stuff really fascinating. You know, what's going to work for you best? In there's so many different ways. And you know, as sound healer also, our venues change all the time. And this is why I just went back to, you know, if it's a smaller event, a group, I don't need amplification. I just need the instruments to breathe in the room and just play the instruments in the room. And then if it's a venue that there's extra support for the technical aspect, then I bring all that stuff. Yeah. All right. So, yep, I just shared the class that's coming up, starting really, really soon. If anyone has any other questions, let me know. But we went through almost everything. Oh, there was the PA question. I wanted to make sure I address the PA question. I'm going to add that stuff to the document too, because that document's very recording studio centric. And I know you guys have a lot of live questions. So in terms of brands for PAs, JBL is a really, really good brand. You can get 2 speakers. They come in different packages and sizes, and you can get 2 speakers, and then and one of them will have like a built-in mixer on it, so you can plug the microphones directly into the speaker, and those are really, really cool. So let me see if I can find a link for you guys in terms of that. Let's go to Sweetwater. Let's go JBL PA system. And let's see what comes up. So yeah, there's like one here. There's a portable PA. This one's a little more, but this is kind of what I was talking about. This one's, I always look for like the reliability and the sound. The sound is good. So the JBL Eon 208 or something. If you click on that, you'll see that there is the speakers, and then there's the mixer. There's 4 mic inputs in there, and you can dial that in. And I have a Bose speaker, like a Bose Tower, It's called the Bose L1, and it's just one speaker. It's mono, and it was $1,000 for one speaker, and I actually don't even like it really, even though Bose has pristine audio quality. I might try to sell that and get one of these JBL ones so I can have stereo at least. You know, like I'm not happy with it anymore. I brought it out a few times, and it just bums me out. So I'm like, no, this is not even it's not even adding anything to the sound. You know, regular amps can work. I know that there's a an amp that a lot of my sisters have for the yoga environment. It's called the Roland Cube. And the Roland Cube has it can be used for guitars, but really it can be used for anything. And so um, I've seen the Roland Cubes used quite a bit, and so that's one to look into. And by the way, I know that Sweetwater has used gear list, and looking for used gear is always a good way to save some money. But the Cube series I've seen is pretty good, just to get an extra bit, you know, of oomph out of your stuff live. Thank you, Lynn. Reverb is another website that is great for used gear, and so you never know what you're gonna find on there. People are dumping stuff all the time. You know, Craigslist. You just got to be careful with Craigslist and stuff because you just never know. But you know, or eBay. Those sites always scare me. But you can get lucky on there. So yes, what I'm gonna do is I'm going to give you guys this recording. I'm gonna make a YouTube link and send it out just for those of you who signed up for this class. And then I hope you all consider joining Get Amplified in a couple weeks starting. And if you have any questions, please let me know. And I'm happy to answer, you know. Or if you really need something specific, you need help with something, you need some consulting, you can certainly book time with me so I can get you right to the point, right to where you need to be. Okay? All right, you guys, blessings. Thank you so much for joining this free audio workshop. And I hope to see all of you soon. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. Yeah.